welcome to another video, a walkabout town. Today's video is all about the pubs in and around Leigh town centre. That's of course the pubs of Leigh. This edition will be about pubs that's in and around the town centre, like well, of course we're going to be starting in here on just at the top of Leigh Road, Market Street area. Where of course there's two pubs right behind us, as you can see. Anyway, let's get going. We have what is the Thomas Burke Witherspoon's pub, which originally was a theatre back in the day. As you can see the old sign above the theatre, Grand Theatre Hippodrome, and of course it became a pub around about 2006, 2007. Of course, over the years it's gone on many guises. It was before it became a pub restaurant. It was a nightclub called the Cube, and before that it was named the Hippodrome nightclub. Both of which failed. Of course, but of course in the early 90s it did have its use as a laser quest back in the day, you know, and of course when it closed its doors around about 1990 as a cinema, when it was last known as the Cannon Cinema, because Cannon Cinema Group had pulled out. And of course, as a matter of fact, the Thomas Burke has proved to be a very popular pub in Leigh for food as well. So it's I mean, I enjoy going in there. So yeah, well, there it is. Of course, the pub across the road is of course called the First and Last Bar, and of course it's been under a few changes over the years. It was one of the most recent names was called the Bar None, which is still got that title there. It's a cabaret and sports bar. Yeah. Of course, back in the day, it used to be known as the Avenue, and then before that was the Pied Bull. Here on the site where Asda supermarket now stands, and of course with that building, Econ Princes now, it of course is what used to be the site of the Brown Cow pub and of course the Swan Inn. Of course both pubs were demolished to make way for the market, although that building is still there. Of course that's the over the road is of course the Boar's Head, which has been there since what, 1902 or something like that. There's no, yeah. Well, of course that's not the original pub of Boar's Head. Of course, the original was in fact earlier than that, because there's a smaller version which you can see in the archives of how it used to look, because of course the churchyard used to come to where the island is around thereabouts. So yeah, this part yeah, so it was quite narrow back then. Yeah, in fact you can actually see the date of when the pub was actually built. There's of course a pub called the Weaver's Arms, which has been had a few name changes. I remember originally it was an Indian restaurant in the past, as I remember. Of course, was one of I believe it was one of Yates's pubs originally. Yes, they do pub food here as well as the Thomas Burke. So you know, as you can see, and of course the pub next to it is of course the Musketeer, which of course entertainment like karaoke, live bands, and that kind of thing. Yeah, the Musketeer. Been there a number of times. Yeah. The road is of course the Age UK charity shop, which of course was in fact the site of the old Globe Inn pub, or was it just pub that we see here on at the top of Badgergate is of course the Lilford Hotel, which is now a row of shops. Well, here we have of course, is the site of the old White Horse, which used to stand on the corner of Railway Road and Market Street. It was demolished to make way for the road widening scheme around about the turn of the century. Well, of course, while that was still trading, the new White Horse was being built just behind, which is that red brick building you can see behind there, of course. And it was built in 1899. And this is what the actual pub is now called. I remember back in the 80s it was known as the Tropics.
Went over a different name.
The Tropics.
A long time ago.
A tropical theme going on.
Of course,
this now known as the
particular building was built in 1889.
Old school leaflets
and
still known as the
it's been through a number of changes. It's now currently called the Sage.
Anyway, the other site.
So it's here over the road. As you can see, there used to be a pub, hotel,
used to stand
called the Rope and Anchor, which used to sit on this site and was, of course, demolished in 1964 and was replaced by the building that you see now.
Of course, this was.
And here is, of course, one of the oldest pubs in Leigh, or the oldest pub in Leigh, the George and Dragon. It's been here for a long, long time. And of course, in recent years they have extended it, as you can see. Now, of course, this road, because it used to be situated in between some other buildings.
Demolished.
There were some shops here as well, and of course there used to be the information centre that used to stand there.
Of course.
Anyway, anyway, over in the middle, you can see where, of course, where the bus is just pulled out of, is in fact what used to be the site of the old Woolpack, which was demolished around about 1989, 1990, to make way for the extension of the bus station. And of course, in its place was, of course, the Spinning Jenny pub, which has
demolished to make way
for
the
many names.
Jenny pub, which
of course, it's now known as Oscar's. And as you can see, a replica of the mural of the Spinning Jenny sits on the chimney stack
is in fact
on that pub.
We'll
show you the frontage of that pub.
Of course, the Spinning Jenny pub.
Like there's, of course,
have gone under
the Spinning Jenny pub, which is now known as Oscar's. And it replaced
there on the corner of the site of where the old shops used to
as I said, that it did replace the Woolpack around about 1990.
Jenny Way.
Of course,
around about 1990.
As you see on this video, that it has a replica of the.
And here, of course, is the Leigh Arms pub, which is believed to be one of the popular pubs in town. It's great for like sports, live sport being played there. Of course, that building itself used to be a shop at one time, many years ago, before it became a pub. And of course, here we have the Eagle and Child. That's been there for years, but that used to be a hotel at some point. Of course, the Eagle and Child went to a number of different names. Of course, in the 90s, it became known as Edison's. More of a nightclub type atmosphere, really. And it became Bliss in the about late 2000s, 2010s, and what it's called now. And there it is. It just sits on the corner there, corner of King Street and Twist Lane. Of course, the other building I want to show you in here was, which was, of course, was on that site before Twist Lane was widened, which, of course, is in fact the Royal Oak, which I'll show you right here, right now, where, of course, this was the site of the old Royal Oak pub, used to be on the corner, into where the Adactus Housing Association. And, of course, here I have a pub called The Lock, which sits here on Twist Lane, which has been around in not that long. Of course, over on the other side of the road
used to be the size of a pub called the Live and Let Live,
which
used to be here.
I do believe was a notorious pub.
Of course,
all sorts of
that particular pub
that used to go in there.
Did have a bit of a reputation for the type of characters that actually went in there.
Pub, please comment below.
Of course, I've heard many stories about it, how it was a bit of a dive back in the day, but I suppose if you like going in there, I mean, I suppose everyone's opinion's different.
Well, of course, it was demolished to make way.
I do remember the building being there. Of course, I always recall it. It was all boarded up when I was little.
In 1990.
Of course, the building in the background.
Of course.
Have a look over here.
Here we have the
Here
waterside
is, of course, the waterside pub, which, of course, itself used to be like a warehouse beside the canal.
It has been
and it came
derelict for some time, although there is something going on in the
waterside pub during the 1990s.
It's just offices now.
It was a very popular pub. It was a shame it closed down now.
Yeah.
But there's always good meals in there.
For this.
And shame what happened. I mean, since 20 a lot of pubs have been struggling even more, and this is just one of them.
Of course, this was the boardwalk.
Take a walk along up to the jetty. You see that all the air has been cordoned off so that no undesirables will take residence there.
It's closed down because it's really nice along the canal.
It's a shame, really, because you always got a nice.
Of course, as you can see, is the shot of the waterside from this angle.
Sat outside.
As you can see,
it's always nice watching the boats go by. So,
and obviously they've closed it off so that we don't get any winos walking in.
Open again.
Right there.
Might do. Here, of course, is the Moonraker. What was the Moonraker? It's now an apartment. It's called the Oracle. Is it called the Oracle? I think it is, yeah. And that's where it was. Another popular pub in town that's gone.
Over the road, where the new apartments have been built, there used to be the site of the bridge. It used to be known as the Bridge Inn, which was also known as the Top Bridge, hence for obvious reasons, because yes, it was situated near the top of the bridge. It's now been replaced by apartments, which is now known as Waterside Point. Yeah. That was the Bridgewater, also known as the Bottom Bridge, as well. It used to be on this site, which were all demolished to make way for new housing development. Over the road, the pub called the Centurion was originally called the Ellesmere. It became the Centurion around about the 2000s, when, of course, when Leigh Rugby Club moved to the Sports Village nearby. Leopard's Den, which originally was called the Britannia Pub. But of course, I spent many nights on Saturday nights, karaoke nights, as a regular in the Britannia, which is now known as the Leopard's Den, named after the recently rebranded Leigh Rugby Club, Leigh Leopards, which are really doing very well in rugby at the moment, and well, I do hope they do well for the future as well. It's like, in fact, they're doing so well that even the pie eaters are impressed as well. But of course, that's the former pub. It became more, of course, it changed ownership in the 2000s, around about the 2010s, when, of course, when it changed ownership in 2010s, and of course, well, they just got rid of the disco, the karaoke disco. Of course, I remember, is it Steve and Debbie Birchall, and lost the jobs there, but they did find other places. In fact, they're still going now with Starlight Karaoke. So, a big shout out to them if you're watching our videos. Well, that's it for this particular video. We'll walk about town of the pubs of Leigh. That's, of course, not all the pubs, but of course, if you want me to do some more videos on other pubs around Leigh and surrounding area, then please comment below. And if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. And remember, keep the Centurion YouTube channel growing. Spread the word. In fact, my aim is to get up to 1,000 subscribers or more. In fact, or 2,000 subscribers, if you can. Please help it grow. You know, I know that my videos are shaky at the moment, but then of course I'm using primitive equipment. But of course, within time, of course in time it can only get better, can't it? Anyway, we'll see you next time on another video. Bye.